The stars were quiet, but silence in deep space was never peaceful. Far away from any planet, the great alien warship Varkan Dreadnought floated slowly, like a wounded beast. It was one of the strongest ships in the galaxy, built by the Varkan Empire, armed with heavy cannons, protected by thick armor. But now, it was not moving. The ship was dead. The lights were dim. The engine was cold. Inside the ship, red alarms flashed. Soldiers ran through the halls. Officers shouted orders. Panic filled the air. At the center of the chaos was Captain Zarek Vel, an old alien general with silver-blue skin, sharp eyes, and a voice that made even the strongest warriors obey. He had survived many wars, seen many enemies. But this problem was different. The ship's engine had shut down, without warning, without reason. No battle, no damage. It just stopped. "Status report," Zarek shouted. "Main engine offline," replied the chief technician. "All systems tried. Nothing works. We don't know why." Zarek clenched his jaw. They were in a dangerous star zone, close to a region known as the Razor Nebula. The nebula hid enemy raiders, pirates who attacked weak ships for resources. If they found the Varkan Dreadnought like this, it would be over. "Time left until enemy scanners detect us?" Zarek asked. "Maybe 6 hours," said a young officer. "Maybe less." Zarek slammed his fist on the console. "Then fix it now." "We're trying, sir," said the engineer, sweating. "But it's not just a power issue. Something's wrong deep in the core systems." Someone whispered from behind. "Maybe we should call the human." Zarek turned sharply. "What did you say?" The technician stepped forward. "Sir, the humans, especially their engineers. They've been working with the Galactic Repair Union. We have one nearby. His name is Eli Morgan. He fixed an entire Frathan cruiser in 2 hours." Zarek stared at him. "You want me to trust a human with my ship?" "Sir, we have no other choice." For a moment, the old captain said nothing. He hated taking help. But the truth was in front of him. The ship was dying. The enemy was near, and time was running out. "Call him," he finally said. "Bring him now." 4 hours later, a small shuttle docked with the Varkan Dreadnought. The doors opened with a hiss. Out stepped Eli Morgan, a human in his 30s, short brown hair, calm eyes, and a strange little toolbox hanging from his belt. No armor, no weapons, just a simple engineer's suit and quiet confidence. He looked around the giant alien ship, not impressed, not afraid, just focused. "Where's the engine room?" he asked. Zarek walked up to him, his tall alien frame towering over Eli. "You know what happens if you fail," Zarek said coldly. Eli looked up. "Yes, we all die." Without waiting, he turned and walked toward the engine chamber. Inside the core, the engine room was massive. Pipes, wires, glowing panels, all alien-made. 5 Varkan engineers had already tried and failed to fix it. Eli took out a small scanner, human technology, and began walking through the area slowly. His eyes moved fast. His hands touched the walls, the floor, the circuits. He didn't ask for help. He didn't talk. He just worked. Zarek and his officers watched from above, curious and confused. The human was doing something different. After 15 minutes, Eli opened a panel that none of the Varkans had touched. Inside was a deep black cable, slightly burned. "Here," he said. "This is your problem." The chief Varkan engineer leaned in. "No, that's just a secondary link. It shouldn't stop the engine." Eli smiled lightly. "Unless someone rewired your energy pads last month." The alien's eyes widened. "How did you know that?" Eli pointed. "This weld, it's fresh. Not Varkan style. Someone changed the flow. When this cable failed, the system looped. That's why everything froze." The aliens looked at each other in shock. How do you know this?" Zarek asked. Eli replied, "Because I've seen it before. On human ships. On alien ones too. Technology speaks. You just have to listen." Zarek didn't say anything. But deep inside, something changed. Respect. And maybe curiosity. Countdown ticking. Eli went to work. He cut wires, reconnected others, bypassed old circuits, and installed a small human-made stabilizer into the system. "Power it up," he said calmly. The Varkan team hesitated. Zarek gave the nod. The switch was pulled. For a second. Nothing. Then, the lights flickered. The walls hummed. The great engine of the Varkan dreadnought came back to life. The ship moved again. Alarms stopped. The crew cheered. But Zarek was silent. He looked at Eli and thought, "This human is not ordinary." The Varkan dreadnought was moving again. Engines powered up. Lights returned. Life flowed back into the great warship. The alien crew celebrated, but Captain Zarek Vell didn't join them. He stood in the shadows, watching the man who saved them, Eli Morgan, the human engineer. Eli didn't smile. He didn't wave. He just cleaned his tools and checked the engine again. To the crew, he looked like a simple man with soft skin and quiet eyes. But his hands, they were not normal. They moved too fast, too smooth, like they already knew where every wire, every pipe, every switch was hiding. The crew begins to whisper. As Eli walked through the ship, alien soldiers and workers stared. They had heard stories about humans. Wild, emotional, unpredictable. But this one was calm, cold, smart. He fixed the ship in under 1 hour, one alien whispered. With tools smaller than a finger, said another. Did you see his eyes? Like he could see inside the walls. Some were impressed, others were scared. Even the chief engineer, Torak Geln, didn't like it. I've worked this ship for 12 years, he told Zarek. No one, not even a Varkan, should understand our systems that fast. Zarek replied, yeah, he did. Zarek watches the human. Zarek followed Eli as he walked the engine halls. He didn't speak, he just observed. Eli touched a wall and said, you'll have a coolant leak in 9 hours. Torak laughed. Impossible. 9 hours later, the leak appeared, exactly where Eli said. Eli fixed it in minutes. No mistakes. No panic. Zarek stepped forward. You've never been on this ship before. How do you know it so well? Eli shrugged. All machines talk. You just need to listen carefully. Zarek narrowed his eyes. Are you human, or something more? Eli smiled for the first time. Just human. That's enough. A small problem becomes a big mystery. Later, the ship's water recycler began acting strange. Just a small error. Nothing dangerous. Torak sent 2 technicians to check. Eli asked to come too. They entered the control room. The screen flashed with numbers in Varkan language. Eli walked to the panel and said, you have a tiny error in line 62. If it spreads, the oxygen balance will fail. Torak frowned. How do you even read our code? Eli answered, I learned on the way here. Torak's face turned red. That's impossible. But it wasn't. Eli pressed 5 buttons. The screen turned green. Problem solved. Zarek spoke quietly to his first officer. Keep an eye on him. I want to know where he learned all this. The alien crew's fear grows. That night in the dining hall, some soldiers refused to sit near Eli. One alien said, he's too quiet. Another replied, he fixes things too fast. What if he can also break them? Even the youngest cadets noticed something was strange. Eli didn't eat much. He didn't joke. He just watched and listened, always thinking. Captain Zarek asked him, do you trust my crew? Eli looked up. I trust machines more than people. That answer made Zarek feel cold inside. The secret device. Later, while checking a backup generator, Eli opened a small panel and stopped. He stared at something inside. His face turned serious. It was a small black device, no bigger than a pebble, carefully hidden inside the wires. It was not part of the original system. He didn't touch it. He just scanned it with his tool, took a picture, and closed the panel again. He didn't tell anyone, not yet, alone in the engine room. That night, while most of the crew slept, Eli returned to the engine room alone. The lights were low. Shadows moved across the floor. Eli opened a metal case and pulled out a strange-looking tool, clearly human-made. A soft blue light glowed from its tip. He connected it to the engine's brain core. Numbers and codes flashed across a screen. Eli read them fast. Someone changed the engine settings 2 days ago, he whispered. Someone tried to break this ship from the inside. He looked around the dark room. Someone on this ship is a traitor. Zarek's doubts in the growing danger. Captain Zarek sat alone in his quarters, reading reports. Everything about Eli was strange. Too smart, too fast, too calm. Was he truly a hero, or a new kind of spy? But then again, Eli had saved the ship, twice. Zarek spoke into his recorder. Log entry 942. Human engineer Eli Morgan continues to impress. But something about him feels unnatural. I need answers. Fast. Outside his room, footsteps echoed in the hall. Quiet. Careful. Someone was moving. Toward the engine room. The Varkan dreadnought was flying smoothly again. But peace inside the ship was fake. Hidden under the steel walls and quiet corridors, danger was growing. Eli Morgan, the human engineer, had found a strange black device hidden in the engine system. It wasn't part of the ship. Someone had put it there on purpose. And now, someone was trying to hide it. Midnight visitor. Eli stood alone in the engine control room. He had saved the ship twice already, but now he was hunting for the truth. His small scanner beeped again. The black device was still active. It was sending tiny signals, coded pulses, not strong enough to be noticed by normal scans. But Eli's tool wasn't normal. Suddenly, footsteps. He turned off the scanner and stepped into the shadows. A tall Varkan engineer, Torek Giln, entered the room, looking around nervously. He walked straight to the panel where Eli had seen the device. He opened the panel, looked inside, reached for the wires. Click. Eli turned on his flashlight. Torek froze. "What are you doing?" Eli asked calmly. Torek jumped. "I was just doing a check." "At midnight? Without your tools?" Eli walked closer. "Or were you looking for this?" He reached into the panel and pulled out the black device. Torek's eyes widened. You found it." Eli stepped back. "You're not very careful." Torek hissed. "You don't understand. You're just a human." "Maybe," Eli said, "but I understand this device. It's not a tracker. It's a sabotage node. It would have destroyed the engine if I hadn't stopped it." Torek's hands clenched into fists. "I should have disabled you when you first came aboard," he growled. He rushed forward. But Eli didn't move. With a sudden twist, he pulled a small rod from his belt. It glowed blue and sparked. Torek stopped. The spark was hot enough to melt armor. Eli's voice was still calm. "Next time, come with tools, not fists." The secret meeting. An hour later, Captain Zarek Vell stood with Eli in the command center. "You're saying someone on my ship planted that device?" Zarek asked. "Yes," Eli replied. "And I caught him trying to remove it." Zarek looked angry. "Torek Giln has been with me for 12 years. He's loyal." Eli handed over the small black device. "Then ask him why he hid this." Zarek stared at the device. It had markings, not Varkan, not human, something older, something strange. He pressed a button on the wall. "Security. Arrest Torek Giln. Now." Interrogation. Torek sat in a dark room, hands chained, eyes cold. Zarek stood across from him. "Why did you do it?" Torek stayed silent. Zarek shouted, "You could have killed us all." Finally, Torek spoke. "You don't understand, Captain. The Varkan Empire is dying. We've made too many enemies. The High Command is weak. I was told to bring this ship down quietly. Let it drift into enemy space. Let the galaxy see our weakness." "Who gave the order?" Zarek asked. Torek looked up, smiling strangely. "Someone who thinks like a human." Zarek's eyes narrowed. "What does that mean?" Torek said nothing else. Eli's private message. Back in his room, Eli sent a silent signal to Earth. It was a short message. Confirmed. Internal sabotage. Enemy agent was in position. Suggest increased security in all joint missions. He closed the message and leaned back. He wasn't just an engineer. He was also working for Earth's Deep Systems Division, a secret team that watched alien tech and sabotage threats. But no one on the ship knew that. The second device. The next morning, alarms blared again. Another device had been found, this time in the weapons bay. Eli ran there with Zarek. Smoke filled the room. Sparks flew from a wall panel. Eli acted fast. He crawled into the small chamber, used his light tool, and cut 3 wires in perfect order. Boom! A small explosion shook the floor. Zarek yelled, "Eli!" Smoke cleared. Eli stepped out, coughing, his arm slightly burned, but alive. "I got it," he said. "But that wasn't the last one." Zarek nodded slowly. "Then we find the rest." together. More than just a human. Later, while Eli rested in the medical bay, the ship's doctor scanned his hands. These readings, the doctor said, they're not normal. Your fingers respond faster than any I've ever seen. Muscle reaction time, almost machine-like. Eli gave a tired smile. Maybe I just practice a lot. The doctor frowned. Or maybe you're more than just a human. Zarek's growing respect. That evening, Zarek visited Eli. I was wrong about you, the captain said. You're not just a good engineer. You're a protector. You saved my ship. Twice. Eli replied, I didn't do it for you. Zarek raised an eyebrow. Then why? Eli looked out the window into deep space. Because if your ship had fallen, others would follow. And then, the whole galaxy would burn. The Varkan dreadnought drifted through silent space. The engines worked. The weapons were online. The traitor, Tora Gilm, was locked away. But something still felt wrong. Eli Morgan, the human engineer, had removed 2 hidden sabotage devices. But he believed more were still hidden, deeper, smarter, harder to find. The ship was alive, but not safe. The strange signal. At exactly 2:37 ship time, the dreadnought's communication deck picked up something strange. A signal, weak, broken, full of static. Just background noise, said the comms officer. But Eli, walking by, stopped. He heard something in that noise. Play it again, he said. They replayed the signal. It was only 5 seconds long, but within the static was something shocking. A human voice. Soft, broken, full of pain. Help me. Engine. Can't hold. They're inside. The crew froze. Zarek Vell listened carefully. Where is it coming from? The officer checked. Sir, it's not from outside. Zarek's eyes narrowed. Then where? It's coming from inside the ship. Searching the source. Eli quickly scanned the signal's path. It's bouncing between old wires, he said. One's no longer in use. Like it's hiding. Zarek ordered. Trace it. Now. Eli and 2 Varkan guards moved quickly through the lower decks, areas forgotten, full of dust and silence. The deeper they went, the colder it felt. Eli's scanner beeped louder. Finally, they reached a sealed maintenance door. Eli opened it. Darkness. A room unused for years. Inside was another device, but not like the others. This one was older, half broken, and glowing faint blue. And strapped to it was a small recorder replaying the human voice. The truth behind the voice. Eli picked up the recorder. It was cracked and dirty. He wiped it clean. The voice played again. Eli, if you hear this, I failed. Don't trust the system. Zarek asked, Who is that? Eli's face went pale. I know that voice, he said. It's Dr. Kaylin Meyer. She was my teacher. My mentor. She died 3 years ago. But this recording is recent, Zarek said. Eli nodded slowly. That means someone found her last message and planted it here. But why? The Varkan officer asked. Eli stared at the glowing device. To warn me, or maybe, to test me. The hidden lab. Further scans revealed something shocking. A hidden lab deep in the ship's cargo sector. It wasn't on any map. Zarek took a team there immediately. Eli followed. The door was locked with an old Varkan code. Zarek used his command override. The door opened with a hiss. Inside was a small room, filled with human tech. Computers, storage tubes, a cryopod, long empty. This isn't ours, a Varkan soldier whispered. Zarek looked at Eli. You know what this is? Eli touched the cryopod. It's human-made. Military grade. But this model, it was banned 5 years ago. Zarek stepped back. Then what is it doing on my ship? Something still alive. Suddenly, one of the screens lit up. A voice message autoplayed. If you found this room, it means the program failed. Do not trust the one with enhanced hands. Do not trust the fixers. They are tools of the new machine war. The screen went black. Everyone turned to Eli. Zarek said slowly, the one with enhanced hands. That's you. Eli's voice was quiet. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't know. Zarek raised his weapon slightly. Didn't know what? Eli looked at his own hands. My body is still human, but parts of my nervous system were upgraded. I was part of a project called Iron Mind. It was shut down after Dr. Meyer died. Zarek asked, "And now?" Eli looked up, serious. "Now, someone's trying to restart it. Too many questions." Back in the command center, the crew was shaken. "Who put this lab on our ship?" One officer asked. "Why use a dead scientist's voice?" Another said, "Why target Eli?" Zarek walked to the window, staring into space. "We're being pulled into a game we don't understand," he said. Then he turned to Eli. "But you're the key. Your hands, your mind. Someone planted you here for a reason." Eli replied, "Or maybe I'm here to stop them." The final warning. That night, Eli listened to Dr. Meyer's message again. He played it 5 times. "Don't trust the system. They're inside." "What did you mean?" he whispered. His scanner suddenly lit up. Another signal. Faint, hidden behind walls. It wasn't a recording. It was live. And it was moving toward the ship's reactor. Eli stood up fast. "Someone is in the walls, tracking the invisible enemy." Eli followed the signal into the narrow maintenance tunnels beneath the reactor. The walls were tight. The air smelled cold and old. His scanner beeped louder. The signal was close. Suddenly, a shadow moved. Eli froze. Out stepped a figure. A tall alien in dark armor, eyes burning with fear and anger. It was Torek Geln. "Why are you here?" Eli asked calmly. Torek's voice was low. "Because I have a choice now. I don't want to die for those who send me." Eli stared. "You're the saboteur. You planted devices to destroy this ship." Torek nodded slowly. "I was ordered. But I want out." The hidden truth. Torek dropped his weapon and stepped forward. "I'm not the only one," he said. Eli's eyes widened. "There is a secret group within the ship, within the Varkan Empire. They want to start a war to control the galaxy." Zarek stepped closer. "How many are there?" "Enough," Torek said, "to bring down any ship, to destroy any fleet." Zarek asked, "Why should we trust you?" Torek looked at Eli. "Because he's the only one who saved the ship. A dangerous alliance." Zarek nodded slowly. "We don't have a choice." He turned to the guards. "Release Torek, but under strict watch." Eli and Torek stood side by side. Both knew this was only the start. Torek said quietly, "There is a meeting tonight, secret, hidden in the cargo hold." Eli asked, "What will happen there?" Torek looked around, nervous. "They will choose the next target. They want to kill the crew and blame humans." The secret meeting. That night, Eli and a small team moved quietly to the cargo hold. The room was dark, except for a small fire pit. Around it, shadowy figures whispered. Eli counted at least 10 high-ranking officers and engineers. He recognized some faces, trusted crew members. Zarek's voice came through a comm link. "Wait for my signal." The meeting began. A tall alien spoke. "The human spy is dangerous. We must finish him." Another added, "And destroy the Varkan dreadnought." Eli's heart pounded. He signaled Zarek. The capture. Suddenly, the shadows turned. Guards burst in. A fight started. Eli and Torek fought side by side. Blasters fired. Sparks flew. One of the saboteurs lunged at Eli. Eli blocked with his glowing tool. The attacker screamed and fell. Zarek's voice ordered, "Hold your fire." The saboteurs were captured. The final test. With the traitors caught, Eli approached the captain. Zarek said, "You have saved us again. But you are not just a human engineer." Eli nodded. "My body is enhanced, but my mind is still human." Zarek smiled. "That is why you are trusted. Because you are human, and because you care. Hope for the future." The Varkan dreadnought was safe for now. Eli looked out at the stars. He knew the war was far from over. But for the first time, he felt hope. Because even in the darkest places, human courage could shine. The captain's warning. Captain Zarek Vell called Eli to the command bridge. "Eli," he said, "your loyalty saved us. But some will never accept a human among them." Eli nodded quietly. "Trust is earned slowly, and sometimes it is paid for in pain." Eli looked out at the stars. "I don't expect them all to trust me. I just want to prove that I am on their side." Zarek smiled faintly. Then keep doing what you do best. A quiet celebration. The crew held a small gathering in the mess hall. Laughter and music filled the room for the first time in days. Eli sat quietly watching. He remembered Dr. Callan Meyer's voice warning him, "Don't trust the system." But now, Eli trusted something new. The human heart. A new threat. Suddenly, the ship's alarm sounded again. Zarek rushed to the command center. "Status report," he demanded. The communications officer said, "We are receiving a signal. It's from Earth." Everyone froze. Eli stared at the screen. The message was urgent. "Eli Morgan, your mission is not over. There is a traitor on Earth. Return immediately." Zarek looked at Eli. "What will you do?" Eli's voice was calm but firm. "I will finish what I started." The choice. Eli packed his tools. He stood at the airlock. The crew gathered to say goodbye. Zarek placed a hand on his shoulder. "You are not just a human engineer. You are part of this crew." Eli smiled. "And I will come back." The journey home. As Eli prepared to leave, he looked once more at the Varkan dreadnought. He thought of the battles, the secrets, the friends he made, and he knew the truth. Sometimes, trust costs everything. But without it, there is no future. The final message. Before leaving, Eli sent one last message to Captain Zarek. "Thank you for trusting me. I will find the traitor, and I will return." As the airlock closed behind him, Eli's heart was heavy but hopeful. The galaxy was dangerous. But humans, simple, strong, and brave, were ready. Back on Earth, Eli landed on a secret base hidden deep underground. He stepped out, greeted by familiar faces. But something felt off. The base commander approached. "Eli, welcome back," she said, but her eyes didn't smile. Eli sensed danger. The hidden enemy. Eli started investigating quietly. Documents vanished from his hands. Orders were changed. Someone powerful was hiding the truth. He followed the trail and discovered a secret group inside Earth's military. They wanted to start a war, using the Varkan dreadnought as a scapegoat. The final confrontation. Eli confronted the leader, a cold, ruthless woman named Commander Celine. She smiled. "You think you can stop us? We control everything." Eli stood firm. "This ends now." A fight began. Words, threats, and secrets spilled. In the end, Eli's truth won. Revealing the truth, Eli sent a message to Captain Zarek. He exposed the traitors and their plan. Zarek and the Varkan dreadnought crew prepared for peace. A new beginning. Eli looked to the stars. He knew the galaxy was still dangerous, but humans and aliens could build trust. Together, the legacy of trust. Eli smiled. His hands, once just tools for fixing machines, had become symbols. Symbols of hope, courage, and trust. Because sometimes, the greatest power is simply to believe in each other.